We're here, coffee talk with Jen and Jess. What are we talking about, Jen?
Hey, ladies. Hope you're joining us today.
Hey.
So I was talking to my mom and
Mhm.
sis, both nurses, okay? Both pediatric nurses. And I mentioned this whole amnesia thing that you get from the measles. And they actually they didn't learn about it in nursing school. So I'm figuring maybe this is like a new thing.
Yes. Let
So
let's
yeah.
let's
So what
talk.
is it? Talk to me.
Okay. So the disclaimer is A, I'm not a clinician, and B, I'm not an immunologist, but I've spoken to people who are, and they've sort of given me the scoop. So it's not surprising that the folks in your family, I don't know when they trained, but this is a relatively new thing. I think it was 2019 that a team of researchers figured out this really awful potential serious side effect of measles.
But one of
So
our researcher friends was in on this, right?
that's right, Dr. Michael Minna, who was a guest on the Unbiased Science
So
podcast.
let's just throw that in. Okay.
Let's just throw that in there. Yeah, no, he's absolutely brilliant. He was on a team of researchers. He was part of the team. I think he was a postdoc at the time. So real quick, I think when people think about measles, they mainly think, oh, like fever, rash. Okay. What they don't realize is that there are some really scary, serious side effects. So, immune amnesia, in my simplified terms, basically, and nearly everyone who gets measles will have some level of this. So
Okay.
even if you have a pretty mild case,
Okay.
um, your immune system basically forgets what it previously knew. So you know that anytime we encounter a pathogen or we get sick, our immune system learns something, right? We develop some sort of protection if our body were to face that particular
So
bacteria
like
or
the
virus,
flu, the cold, all that stuff your kids get in like
all
nursery
all the
school.
things.
Okay.
So, for up to about 2 to 3 years after you get measles, your immune system forgets a portion of what it once knew. And there's a range, it's something like 11% to 73%, something like that. So, more severe cases, your immune system can forget a lot, like the majority of what it previously knew. And it takes years for it to regain that knowledge.
So do you have to
So,
like get those same illnesses again and rebuild it up, basically?
right. So if your body encounters, and again, we're talking about like the common cold, bacteria, herpes, like literally anything, right? Your
Ugh.
body will not be equipped to fight it. So it'll be like you never had any protection against it. It forgot everything it knew. And it makes you really susceptible to getting super sick or to having a really bad reaction. And
Okay, that
again,
sounds
yeah,
worse than just getting like the measles. That sounds
it's
worse.
it's really bad, and like I said, there's a range. So mild cases, you typically experience a lower level of this, like on the lower end,
Okay.
like 10%, whatever. But if it's a more severe case, and unfortunately children are even more susceptible to this. So kids,
Okay.
especially kids who have more severe cases of measles, experience a really high level of this immune amnesia, which is, I don't know, freaks me out.
So all those parents who are like, "Oh, my kid can just get a mild case of the measles," guess what? You're gonna get all of these things all over again.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. If I could mention one other thing,
Please do.
there's this other thing we did a reel on measles and the MMR vaccine, and I talked about immune amnesia briefly, but then I mentioned encephalitis, which is a swelling of the brain, and people don't realize that it's a rare but extremely terrifying side effect of measles. Let me just get the exact word. Hang on. Okay. Subacute sclerosing panencephalitis, SSPE. Encephalitis means swelling of the brain. And basically, years after you get sick with measles, you experience this terrible, I don't know, like neurological impairment. Like you get this decline, your brain, like you're thinking it's not working well. And the really scary thing is that this is, if I'm not mistaken, it's almost always, if not always, fatal. Meaning that if you
Oh,
develop this, you will die from it. And I think that's also terrifying. And then it's like, okay, we have this amazing vaccine, the MMR vaccine, that is nearly 100% effective at
Yeah.
stopping us from getting this really scary virus
Yeah.
that has these
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
terrible side effects.
Yeah. What about like all those parents who are like, well, barely anybody has the measles anymore, so if my kid is the only one who's not vaccinated.
Yeah. So I would say a couple of things. One, if people have seen the news. Obviously, we are seeing a resurgence of these things. And two, it's that the reason we don't see measles so much is because we've had really high levels of measles vaccination. But now that more and more people are, hesitant, either they're not getting the vaccine, they're delaying the vaccine, we're seeing these cases crop up, which means it might not be so rare anymore.
Okay. And then one more thing. So, I mean, this thing is so, so contagious that if you're in a room where somebody was 2 hours before and had it, it like lives in the air, right?
It is one of the most, if not the most contagious, most infectious diseases that we are aware of on Earth at this time that infects people, right?
Okay.
And I forget what the actual, we call it a reproduction number or an R naught, like how many people who are susceptible to the virus will contract the virus if they come into contact with it. And it's something like 12 to 18, which for perspective, I think it's something like 1.2 for the flu. Like this thing is so highly, highly contagious.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds bad.
So please get that MMR vaccine.
Even if you're old, you can get it. You don't have to be young.
That's right. That's right. And yeah, and if you're not sure, you can go ahead and get a dose. So like if you can't find your medical records, you're not sure if you got both doses. Some people go and get titers done, but a lot of times people say you could just skip that step. Really, really briefly, titers, they check for immunity, but there are different types of immunity. And so titers aren't really 100% accurate. So a lot of times the recommendation is just skip that step and just go ahead and get another dose. So it's definitely worth talking to your doctor about.
Okay. Okay. Well, this has been great, Jess, and I can report back to the family now.
Yes.
And we'll talk about other types of amnesia. But we've got a bunch of stuff on socials we're putting out about this, so check the Substack. Yep.
And there's my phone. All right.
It's been fun. All right. Bye.